Okay, so it is tree time day. I just did a vlog and I have nothing better to do. So I'm going to keep telling you funny, interesting stories about my life, about other people's lives. Feeling in a good mood, albeit what just happened pissed me off, and that's why I'm in a good mood. Because when you refuse to be exploited by people and you refuse to submit to someone else's exploitation or someone else's inappropriate behaviour, it makes you feel good. You've made a stand, and that's what we should all feel like, because that's what we should all be doing, which most people aren't. So I used to be, some people know this, that know me, although I don't know how many of them watch this YouTube, but at one point I was the number one research participant in the UK. So that means I participated in more research studies than any other human being in the United Kingdom. And bar the US, that will be the world, because of just a number of reasons. The UK has more higher education institutes than anywhere else relative to population. In fact, I would even say more than the USA, actually, mainly because it's just not feasible, obviously practical, for people to be fucking travelling from Boston to New York to the West Coast. It just wouldn't work. Whereas when you're in London, there's so many research opportunities through Sonar Systems, which is a kind of site which dedicates itself to offloading research from universities onto the public through a kind of centralised platform. Anyway, so I've only been fucked over a few times, and I think I've participated in just over about a couple of thousand studies, maybe. At UCL alone, I've got probably 700 on the cards, which is a hell of a lot. Most of those are MEGs, MRIs. When they tell you MRIs are safe and there's no evidence to suggest that you're not able to do as many as you want, I don't believe that, because I'll tell you something. After I did maybe 20, 30 MRIs, sometimes I was doing an MRI in the morning, an MRI in the afternoon, like 5 days a week. This is when I was a student as well in the UK. And I definitely got some severe heart palpitations which became permanent after doing that. So permanent meaning if I then got in more MRIs, I would get these heart twitches and stuff like that. So yeah, just to let you know, if you plan on doing that, they tell you it's safe, they don't give a fuck, and it's definitely not safe. And it's probably not safe because no one's done research on it, because it's just not feasible, and there's no funding for it. No one cares, because to fund research, someone has to have some financial gain for it. Otherwise, there's not going to be any money in the pot, and no one's got anything to gain from researching whether or not MRI is safe. So unless there's a technology which is in kind of opposition, in competition with such, and therefore I guess that would be the sponsor of such research. So anyway, long story short, one time, there's definitely been a few incidents where certain staff, they're elitist. They think because you're a member of the public that somehow you can be exploited. They think because they're an academic, and I say I've been to 7 universities and a student for a number of years, and it's all bollocks, I can tell you that. The whole lot of it is an absolute sham. But there are people that think that they're better than others. So aside from that, everything was pretty much, good. One thing to note, people were rigging their research in front of me. So when you undertake research, you obviously have your hypothesis, and you have your participant, and you have an experiment to measure whether your hypothesis is correct or not. And of course, if it's not, it's a lot more work for you, and you really want that experiment to support your life, your research, your academic career. And consequently, I saw so many people, and I was participating in this as well. It's not for me to say, the whole system is rigged. It's not going to make a difference if I complain or not. I can tell you, having been a participant in, like I said, thousands of studies, a sizable minority of those studies are fake. And it would get to the point where I would perform on said task, and the results just wouldn't be what they desired them to be. So they would delete the data, which they're not allowed to do, and they would make me redo it. And they would actually give me financial incentives for staying there to redo it, which is otherwise known as a bribe. Anyway, so aside from a few kind of perhaps bad mannerisms, everything's generally good. There was one incident where I rocked up to City University and I was participating. I was on time. The researcher was late. I actually waited for him for over 30 minutes, and I had another appointment after that, so he exceeded his specified time frame. It's not for me to wait around for others to be late. So I left. I gave him ample time to get there, and he obviously was very stressed. He was a younger guy. He probably took a really expensive Uber. He obviously forgot about the appointment and had to rush there, and then I wasn't there because he was 30 minutes late. And he just sent me the most vile voice message. It was something like, who the hell do you think you are, you blah blah piece of shit, that kind of stuff. So I filed a complaint with his superior, who then apologised, of course, offered me money for showing up and not getting paid, because I showed up, obviously didn't get paid. I refused that money because I'm not going to, fuck you kind of thing. I'm not going to take an insult and take money to shut me up. I just insisted on the apology. That's what mattered. And aside from that, I hadn't had anything for a long time until recently. And this is really where society is going as well. So you have obviously physical and online studies, and I participated in an online. I'll do that one in a second. So the first one was about 5 months ago. I did a little study, and it was a Chinese researcher. I feel like I need to mention that it was a Chinese researcher. Not because I've got anything specific against the Chinese. Actually, I think they're generally politer, more efficient than most researchers from other countries. That said, I would say when it comes to money, the Chinese researchers always take a long time and exceed the mandated time frame for paying their subjects. And in this case, this lady owed me a tiny amount of money, and I've probably spent 50 times the amount in the time of complaining. And this is from September 2023, and she hasn't paid me, and she ignored all my emails. And then I filed a complaint with the administrator of the research portal, who then said he'd get on it in November, never responded to me. Then I tried to file a subject access request through the university, and their portal for data requests was not working, which is intentional and very, very common, to the point where Barclays Bank and a lot of Lloyds Banking Group banks have the exact same thing, where you try to access the link through their website, and they've intentionally disabled it with some tech error, which they just say is obviously not their fault, it's an accident, blah, blah, blah. Because of course, subject access requests, it takes a lot of money. People have to physically trawl through the emails you've requested or data you've requested. You've got to pay someone per hour to do that. It costs hundreds and hundreds of pounds for every request. And obviously banks are greedy fucks, so they don't want to do that. And they're mostly liable probably for a lot of the things people are filing for. But anyway, this morning, in fact 10 minutes ago, I just got a push notification on my phone saying finally, her name, I won't give her name, that's rude, but she has sent an apology saying that she didn't get any of my emails, which is total bullshit, because I've sent like 10, and I actually sent them all to the complaints department as well, and I sent the admin 10 as well. And it's such a lie that she even posted another study through the same email afterwards. So it's just really, again, I don't want to stereotype, but Chinese people, a lot of Asians, are very efficient. I doubt that they don't check their emails for 6 months. She came back, and I've now been paid double what I was supposed to be paid, which is basically, please don't take this any further. The other thing is more irritating, which is Oxford University have banned me from their research portal, and they've banned me from their research portal for doing the research correctly. And the chaps, the individuals who are running this research, one is Chinese, one is from the Gulf states, and again, they wanted to rig their research. I did the research correctly. I've done these kinds of studies. These are very simple experiments. I've done these more than anyone else probably in the world, to be honest. That's a really bold statement, but I really was doing like 12, 15 a day for a very, very long time. So I don't have to cheat. People can cheat if they want to. It doesn't have there's no point in cheating, really. You're not going to spend any less time on the experiment. You're just going to get banned. I obviously know that. Never had a problem with another university. Never been banned from another portal. I get banned from Oxford University because he didn't like the research. He actually sent me a really nasty email. I'm going to pursue this all the way as well, the same as the Edge Hill University, who just compensated me for the last one. And yeah, he just obviously goes to the administrator and says, oh, this person's lying, blah blah blah, cheating, etc., haven't done the experiment properly, whatever bullshit. And because a lot of these people, like I said, are very elitist, and especially at the Oxbridge institutions, if they're foreign students, they're paying like 40k. They're from quite affluent foreign families, and you know the level of divide between, you know, those that have and those that don't in countries outside of the West is a lot worse. So there's a lot more elitism, and so I just got banned from Oxford as Sonar System for doing a study correctly, and obviously the data didn't correlate to the hypothesis of the researchers. So they just come along and they use an excuse, and I have no doubt I'm not the only one. And they're just ban members of the public, and they have absolutely no respect. In the email he actually said in writing, you didn't even try, and how dare he, because that was a very strenuous experiment and I always give 100%. So yeah, scumbag. So he's going to get something, I'll tell you that. But nothing will happen, and I have some big stories with respect to crazy ones, stuff that's, you know, will be on the news. Assuming the news was objective, it would be on the news rather. I mean, we're talking insane ones, things involving serious crimes, you know, evidenced in writing by institutions, filed through various independent bodies, and to no avail. It's really the most corrupt system out there, and I will be speaking about the major one soon, because I'm going to have to post a GoFundMe for barrister fees, etc., because it's really an insane case, actually. So yeah, that's there's some more stories. That's wasted another 10 minutes of my time. I only have another 6 or so hours until my transport for Salvador. So yeah, I'll come up with a few more. I just need to upload these to make some space on my phone. So yeah.